of soul.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, AFCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Monday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, a powerful week here on BTL. Very excited about what we have going on, but a very productive weekend from a bass fishing standpoint by a man by the name of Chris Johnson, and we're going to get into that here in a minute. But a productive week for you, a productive weekend for me, and a lot of people want to know, I got messages, they want to know how the Wednesday nighter went. So where do you want to start, man?
Well, we can breeze through the Wednesday nighter pretty quick. We were, I believe, first out of the money. Had a couple nice fish for 6 pounds. I think we had the bites. Got caught up in some line on a couple bites, but no, I had a great time fishing with you.
It was cool.
I mean, I do have a bone to pick. You,
what I do now?
You claimed that I had some meltdowns during the Wednesday.
You did have a meltdown.
I did not have a meltdown at all.
I'm telling you.
You know how frustrating it is when you do everything right. Now how does fishing line get caught in a brush pile?
It's easy.
No, if it's not a rookie move. How many times have you taken scissors and cut your line or had large amounts of tag lines? I can't ever remember a time that I did that. So
you're assuming there. What if somebody had a nick in their line?
In order to get caught in fishing line in a brush pile, there must be enough fishing line for you to get caught in. And if you are breaking off in a brush pile, typically you're getting on top of it, or you're pulling it and you're breaking it, and you're not having 15, 20, 25 feet of line. So other anglers who do everything right can get their quality fish caught in your broken fishing line. It's very frustrating. It was not a meltdown, but anyway,
it was pretty entertaining.
We had
folks.
some missed
really
opportunities, but it was fun. I enjoyed fishing with you. We had a great time.
I would like to fish another tournament with you.
Yeah,
we get 8 hours in. Anyway, folks, I'm telling you, it is the best of all worlds when he is in the front of the boat and I'm just back there being the net man.
Now, the coolest thing about it was, and hadn't seen him for a while, but there were 30 boats in this Wednesday nighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 3 boats lined up next to each other. It was Vince Folks, former Elite Series Pro out of Oklahoma, Jared Miller, former Elite Series Pro out of Oklahoma, and Kevin Ledoux, former Elite Series Pro out of Oklahoma. So 3 former Elite Series Pros fishing the Wednesday night. A pretty cool deal. Next, you have very prominently placed in front of the ficus right here, a bowling pin mark.
Yes.
And I'm guessing you had to bowl with a mask on this weekend.
I did not.
No mask.
Broken Arrow obviously is not following the same protocol as Tulsa. They did require you wear a mask when you were in the center, but you didn't have to wear one when you were bowling. I want to let everybody know, before I even get into that, we're going to have a great show today. We're going to have Pete Gluszek on right at the top of the hour. All right, so we've got some time to discuss what went down at the SLR and some other things on the list. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. So we will get to that. Pete is actually going to be live from the Chesapeake.
Very cool.
With a client.
Guiding.
Yeah. So we're going to have him on for a few minutes, talk about what he has going on at the Bass University. Also talk a little NPFL and talk a little bit Lake Champlain. Now, it is almost impossible to try and get these guys on, and I'm talking about Elite Series guys.
Oh, they're practicing right now.
Back-to-back weeks.
They're practicing right now. And anybody we'd want to have on for this meant they had a good week last week, which means that they've had 0 sleep.
Yeah.
And they're on the water, and the service sucks on Champlain.
Yeah, so I thought, how cool would it be to get a guy that was in the trenches the entire time from a coverage standpoint? And Mark Zona, he's going to be on tomorrow to kind of give us a rundown on his take on the SLR, and then also give us an indication on what his expectations are for Champlain. And then on Wednesday, no show. And then Thursday will be show number 3 of this week, and I'm going to get into that later because it is going to be a very, very special show. So a lot going on this week, a lot of great guests, and the deal on Thursday is going to be really, really cool. We'll get into that here in a minute.
All right, what's up with the bowling pin?
Now, Matt, before COVID-19 hit, I had some goals this year. Obviously, I wanted to go out on the senior tour. Bowl on the senior tour. Just didn't happen. The tour got canceled. They had a couple other... they had the PBA Senior World Series of Bowling that got canceled. So there's just a lot of these little small events that are taking place around the region that just kind of kicked off here in the month of July.
Okay.
So I bowled a doubles tournament in your hometown of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, at the center there. They did a great job making sure social distancing was there. It was limited to a number of entries, number of people. You spaced out 6 feet apart. It was all good.
How'd you get the bowling pin with the numbers on it?
So one of my goals was to bowl another 800 series. Okay?
In 3 games?
In 3 games. Now, an 800 would be like catching a 30-pound limit.
Okay. So
Even
possible 900
Right.
is your score. So 800, you have to average almost a perfect game for 3 games.
No,
Almost.
not really.
I mean, you have to throw a lot of strikes.
You got to throw a lot of strikes. But here, the way I'm going to compare it to, you could be on a bass factory where, man, things are really setting up. It's the month of March. It's pre-spawn. These fish are just starting to move up. You can go out and potentially catch a 30-pound limit, but it rarely happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. The conditions set up to where you could have a 30-pound limit, but very few end up getting a 30-pound limit. All right, so out of 72 people this past weekend, there were only 2 800 series recorded during the event. I had one of them.
Cool. So you just asked for the pin afterwards,
so
and then you added up on it.
It's just like, if you ever had a 30-pound limit, you might want to keep that lure.
Yeah.
I started a little tradition years ago where if I either had a 300 or an 800 series, I would grab a pin out of the rack, write the scores on it, and then throw it in the closet. Anyway, I had 289, 262, 253, some crazy count.
So you need to work on your endurance because your average went down. Or did the lanes change? I'm just saying there's a trend there. Like, you think you got a little worn out in the last round?
I threw some really, really bad shots, especially the 253. 253 should have been 279. It just sucked.
Shoulda, woulda. That's kind of like saying, "Ooh, if I had."
I agree with you 100%. What I say, I threw a bad shot. Yeah. I did not throw it well. So anyway, I had a great time. Next event coming up in a couple of weeks, but I continue to try, and hopefully next year, if things hopefully get better, that I will make a run at the senior tour. But it was good to see a lot of guys that I hadn't seen for a long time. And man, it's kind of like when you bring in that big bag, everybody wants to talk to you, and everybody wants to go, dude, your game's spot on. You're doing great. Had people coming up to me that I hadn't seen for a while saying, hey man, your game looking good, great job, 804. So it is what it is. All right, enough of that. Now let's talk a little bit about what went down at the SLR. You were fishing on Sunday,
Saturday.
Oh, it was on Saturday.
Yeah.
Now, on Saturday, you took all those guys' money once again, didn't you?
Well, it was the Podunkers League, so it's every fish over a pound counts. So I caught 28 1-pounders for 38 pounds and one.
It doesn't matter.
There's really not much to talk about there. It was fun. It was a fun day. Caught a lot of fish on topwater, a lot of 1.5-pounders on topwater on a pop bar, which is fun. So yeah, made a little side coin there.
Right.
But during, I went on a Friday and Saturday, I was glued to the phone watching what was going down on the St. Lawrence River.
Really
and I really thought, and you had predicted that you thought the 100-pound mark would probably go down this week. And I said, no, I don't think so. And
Mercer did also.
The reason that I didn't was because I thought it would be very difficult for those guys on Sunday. You have to average 25. It's really hard. We saw a 27-1 for Mueller, a 27 for Chris Johnson, a 26 for Wendlandt on the first day. And there were 2 anglers that were on pace, but that weather on the last day based on what the predicted forecast was. I was like, man, it's going to be hard to get out there and catch them. And obviously it was, as you saw a lot of the weights lower on that final day. But Chris Johnson, I believe last year when they were there, he went like first, second. And this year he went like second, first. So out of the last 8 days of competition, Elite Series on the SLR, Chris Johnson's been either first or second every single one of those 8 days, which is crazy when you think about it, because I mean, that's what people expect him to do. HFA? The Johnson brothers.
HFA on that body of water?
On that body of water, yes. On those areas, no. Like Mercer said, Canada was off limits, so it's even more impressive what he did. But
he was still very familiar with 100%. What was going on.
But I'm just saying, imagine if you're on your home lake, whatever it is, Thunderbird, for example, and all your favorite brush piles are off limits. So you know how to catch them, you know where they set up, and you know where they are, but you can't go over and fish them. You got to fish secondary stuff. You got to fish other brush piles. It's the same thing that he was doing,
Yeah.
He knew where Megalode was and had to go, find him on the American side, which he had spots over there. But very impressive what both him, Paul Mueller, and the entire field did there.
Especially on the final day.
And the way that that in all of the craziness that they had to do, I mean, it went off without a hitch, and almost 97 and change is what he had, 97.8. I mean, he was right there. And I mean, Mueller with a 713, 7 ounces off of the New York State record, a 713 smallmouth. It was so big that it looked small. You with me on that?
I got it. Yeah.
So before we get into it, I mean, we've had back-to-back absolute slugfest with the BPT, the MLF event that went down at Sturgeon Bay, and then the 5-fish limit tournament, obviously, that went out of the St. Lawrence River. And you watched a little bit of both, I'm assuming.
I watched a lot.
Watched a lot. Here you have Lucas catching over 100 pounds, setting records on Sturgeon Bay. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Mueller and Chris Johnson battling it out with a lot of the smallmouth. Brock Mosley actually targeted largemouth to finish third, which is
we're going to talk about
finishing
that.
Third largemouth. Yeah. But what I want to ask your opinion is, which do you like better?
I like the final day yesterday.
As a whole.
100%. I mean, the challenge that was ahead of them. Did you see what those guys had to do to land those fish?
Yeah.
In 6-foot swells?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm talking as a whole, Mark.
Entertaining.
For the whole deal, though, did you prefer the catch 40 smallmouth a day?
No, I like the 5. I like the 5 a day. And here's another reason why. It was because of the characteristics of the tournament, and you mentioned it earlier. I like what Mosley did with the largemouth.
On a chatterbait. He said he caught a couple smallmouth, but accidents. But, man, he had like a 6'10 largemouth, and I believe we've seen... what have we seen? John Murray target largemouth there before?
Yeah.
I think Ish has targeted. I think Hackney's maybe targeted largemouth before. Bill Lowen maybe cashed checks on largemouth, but no one has contended. Now, he finished third. Granted, he was 13, 14 pounds off the win, but still.
Nobody was going to beat or catch those two guys.
No, but still, third place finish on largemouth, highest largemouth finish we've seen in a BASS
Is that not entertaining?
Event. Yeah, that's very entertaining.
It was cool to watch, especially some of the stuff that he was targeting with that chatterbait, and there was variety.
Here's why I like the 5-fish so much better. This really nailed it
for this event. When you compare the two events, is what you're asking, correct?
Yeah, that too, and as a whole, this is a perfect representation. Paul Mueller, 27-1 on day one, catches a 7-pound, 13-ounce smallmouth. It's 7 ounces shy of the New York State record, 713, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is a massive, monumental fish that carried him to leading 3 days and a second-place finish just to start. I mean, that was a very important fish, right? Some would say historic fish, biggest fish caught, smallmouth, believed to be smallmouth in BASS history.
Yeah.
He was leading by 1 ounce after the first day. It was very tight between those two. That one fish was the only reason why Chris Johnson didn't have a 3-pound lead going into the final day.
I agree 100%.
Now, take that fish and put it in an every fish counts format. All it is 2 4-pounders.
It's a great point.
You're totally mitigating a fish of a lifetime by changing your format to where it's 2 average smallmouth. That fish completely made Chris Johnson make decisions because he's chasing Paul Mueller.
Yeah.
It put Paul Mueller up there because of the fish and the significance of that fish. It really highlighted and showcased the fishery because of all the replays and all the publicity that fish got. Holy cow, a 713. I want to go catch that. And it was a vital, important fish to his entire tournament. You do that in the every fish counts format, it's 2 4-pounders.
No,
that's it.
that's
It's
a
gone.
great point.
It's not a 713 that's almost a state record and the biggest smallmouth caught in the history of BASS competition.
Well, it still is.
It's 2 4-pounders.
It still is what you just said.
I know, but to me that just hammered home the point. And the one that he got caught in his prop, and when those guys are down there on the side scooping and the decision making that they had.
Yeah.
Far and away, I enjoyed and I'm not taking anything away from Lucas. It like I said, that's their format, but just watching it with the significance when you have that many big fish that are that close, those guys weren't getting a ton of 5-pound bites. I like to see the 5 fish.
No, I agree. That event was very, very, very entertaining. But I'm going to say this. You got to understand, it's 2 different games, dude. And we've had this conversation a zillion times.
Right.
All right. When you compare the Sturgeon Bay event to the SLR event, 2 different strategies, obviously 2 different formats. You could find entertainment value in both. But what I'm saying is, based upon what took place at the SLR, to me, it was more entertaining.
Yes, more exciting.
Yeah.
More entertaining. I mean, I think what you would have seen is it would have been a totally different tournament, and you wouldn't have gotten to see all of the tricks pulled out of the bag to catch those 5-pounders.
Yeah. Like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with what Chris Johnston did on the final day. Mm-hmm. Even Mueller, even everybody that went out. Did you see how pissed off Wendlandt was? Oh, my gosh.
I didn't.
Oh, throwing rods. He had a meltdown, okay? Throwing rods.
On the final day?
Yeah. Just very,
well,
very
he's
frustrated.
leading the angler of the year now.
And he's going to catch him at Champlain, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt, based upon that format, and that's what you have to do. You have to be entertained by the game that is being played. But when you take one game and compare it to another game, they're 2 different games, and you have entertainment value depending on how you want to be entertained in both. For what took place over this past week at the SLR, it was cool. And like I said, I was very entertained with what Mr. Mosley did with the largemouth.
Mm-hmm. And Johnson caught him a number of different ways, too. Ned rig, hair jig, flatworm, shocker. Even Mueller was catching him on it.
Yeah, and we heard it again.
Would you not say, now I'll throw this one out at you, Mark. And I'm thinking back to as many tournaments as I can remember. But for a 2-week span, has there ever been, and granted, I mean, Pure Fishing sponsors the organization, so of course they're going to highlight, has there ever been a more dominant performance by a bait at the top of the leaderboard than what the flatworm did these past 2 weeks? And that's a microcosm in the north this time of the year, smallmouth fishing. I mean, it's a small, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the guys on Kentucky Lake are like, oh, I'm drop shotting this flatworm for, well, not Kentucky Lake's a bad example now, but the guys at Guntersville aren't drop shotting a flatworm on the ledges for 8-pound largemouth.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, but has there ever been a more dominant stretch where one small specific bait was put into the limelight for such an extended period of time?
The only one that comes to mind right off the top of my head, the sexy shad crankbait. There was a span of events where if you weren't using that crankbait, you weren't having an opportunity to win.
I agree with that.
Okay.
And also the Berkeley Gulp Minnow. Remember when Gulp Minnow first came out? And
the Buffalo Stop.
The 3-inch or 4-inch Gulp Leech.
Yeah.
That was very similar to this. But.
All right. I want to address the comment that I flashed up on the screen right now. Tyline says it's not 2 different games. It's called fishing. Who can catch the biggest of fish? That is not true. All right. That is not true. The strategy with going out and trying to catch the most weight, all right, 2 pounds or greater with no limitations on the number of fish, is a totally different strategy than what these guys went through from a strategy standpoint this past week in the SLR. Am I wrong on that, Matt? You going to argue with me on that one?
No, it's a totally different strategy. I just happen to like the 5-fish strategy better in this instance.
But I'm talking specifically about that comment that I have on the screen right now. It is 2 different games.
Also, while we're doing comments, this is not my girlfriend's shirt. This is from the Columbus Barrel Company that they sent us. That says Grab Life by the Barrels because they make all their products out of oak barrels, old bourbon barrels. So
we have the old bottle opener right behind you.
The big stick bottle opener. Not sponsored by them or anything, just good guys who like to listen to the show and send us some stuff. So that's where the shirt comes from. You can probably order one at columbusbarrelcompany.com.
There you have it. So I was glued to the TV because I wanted to see how these guys were going to maneuver the big water and the big lake.
And they maneuvered it on the final day. I mean, that was... Do you think there was a scenario where Chris Johnson was not going to go to the big lake?
No.
I mean, if it had been twice as rough, you think he still would have tried to get out there?
I think he would have, because I think he has experience, and it was mentioned that he has experience when the conditions get like that. Now, kind of on a side note, did you hear or see or watch or whatever what Polinick had to say?
As far as
going to the big water or not going to the big water?
He kind of struggled, didn't he?
Right? He made the decision that he was not going to go.
Yeah.
Simply based upon that he had no shot of winning. But more importantly, he didn't want anything to break or go bad. Having to go to Champlain the very next week.
And he ended up with 3 fish for 6.5, but he barely made the top 10 anyway, so he went in with 10th, so he really didn't have anything to lose.
So he was actually, what he did was actually affected by the fact that there was a back-to-back event being obviously Lake Champlain, and he was already more or less looking ahead, which, what do you think? Good strategy? Bad strategy?
It's a good strategy as long as he doesn't miss the Classic by a point or two, because, you know, he had 66 pounds, and then 9th was only 74, 8th was 76. So, you know, if he comes in with 16 pounds, he gains 2 more Angler of the Year points. So what he's basically saying is, I don't feel like qualifying for the Classic will be an issue for 1 or 2 points for me, so I'm going to bank on the fact that those 1 or 2 points are not going to be the difference in my season. Would you agree?
Agree.
And also, what you also have to keep in mind, and I'm not exactly sure what the situation is, but I do know that there have been some limitations as far as on-site pit crew with the coronavirus and restrictions, and some companies as far as what they're sending as far as that. So, I mean, it's a strategy move for him.
Yeah. How about the camera guys all week long?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They earn their money there. Money.
I can't give them enough props for what they did, showcasing what these guys...
On ESPN too.
Yeah, there were spots where the cell signal was not that great, and they did a great job at trying to cover up for that. But what those camera guys went through, and the guys that were on the water covering it, especially on that final day, a lot of guys got seasick. A lot of guys got motion sick. Just a unbelievable effort put forth by the supporting staff to make this thing happen. And I can't wait to see what the ratings are going to be like on this one. I know some of the guys that I bowled with on Saturday, obviously they know what I do on the side with the whole fishing thing and all that. They'd actually watched some of it and actually asked me questions about some of the stuff that was going on Saturday.
Next, I guess the last big thing that we have to address, or that needs to be talked about, which is a unique situation that I can't remember ever happening, is John Cox.
Made the call.
With the FLW Super Tournament kicking off this week simultaneously with the Elite Series stop on Lake Champlain. John Cox heading into the final 2 FLW Super Tournaments in the thick of the Angler of the Year race.
What is he in third?
He's in third place over there out of the 150 plus guys. And he posted that he's pumped to get to Champlain.
Well,
for the Elite Series.
What place is he in the Elite Series?
That's what I'm about to pull up here. I've got all of Chris Johnson stuff pulled up.
Yeah.
Hold on. Clark Winlet leading it, which I mean is no surprise there.
Yeah.
He is he's 36th.
All right, so
I'm here's my thought. I would assume that he is banking on, and I don't know how the schedules line up if he can still fish the title or if they've got an Elite Series over that, but he'll still probably qualify in the top 40 in the title, even after missing one, being third in the points there. And you miss an Elite when you're in 36th, almost halfway through the season now.
Yeah,
your classic chances drastically diminish. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's putting his emphasis on making the Bassmaster Classic through the Elite Series as opposed to winning the FLW Pro Circuit Angler of the Year. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Well, the other thing, too, and we don't know what the numbers are. We don't know what is in the contracts. He may have more incentives from his incentive-based stuff from a sponsorship standpoint that he gets more money if he makes the Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, the guy's a smart guy. He's making good financial decisions when it comes to, which one he was going to fish. So, obviously, he's headed to Champlain. All right, man. A couple other things we need to touch on real quick, and I'm keeping an eye to see if Pete gets in the queue here.
Oh, we're going to have a video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think he's got service? I think we've
He
tried
said he
that
did.
before.
No, he said he did.
And what
if
if
he doesn't,
they end up in a
then we'll
section where
call.
they're just catching him every cast? He's guiding, right?
He's been out there for 4 hours already this morning, dude.
Enough to get on the juice.
He should have
if
already
you're on the
squeezed.
juice with a client, do you say, hey, we got to stop catching him every cast so I can get to service to do this interview?
No.
That's a pickle.
And that's very
That's a
understandable.
pickle, isn't it?
I don't know if that's
Do you
what it's
do
called.
the BTL interview or do you pull your client off the school of a lifetime?
On the Chesapeake, I don't know about that.
They've been killing him on the Chesapeake.
All right, dude, real quick, a couple other things. Did you see who won the California Open?
Bub Tosh.
And blew it away on the final day with a 32 pounds? Almost 33?
Well, I mean, if it was a 4-day tournament, he would have had well over 100 pounds. He had over 80 pounds for the win. And you look at going back to the 2018 U.S. Open, what he has won out west is Van Dam-like in the mid-2000s. It's insane right now what Bub Tosh is doing to every fishery on the West Coast.
So he's got a U.S. Open win, California Open win.
He won the Arizona Open
I
too.
think so.
He's won like everything that's out there. That's won bass or angler choice or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And they always give away cool trophies. He's got like cups and chalices and vases and silver stuff. I mean, it's not like plaques.
Billy Egan doing a great job out there, especially with all the challenges that they had. But man, 32. Almost 33 pounds on the final day and kind of blew away the field. Did you see who finished 14th? I don't know if you pulled the standings up.
Did not.
Andrew Upshaw.
Oh, he went way out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, finished 14th. Got a little money. Farthest angler away, I guess, from Clear Lake. Maybe he had some other reasons to be out there, but pretty decent performance by Mr. Upshaw, finishing 14th. And next up, obviously, is the U.S. Open, and we will keep everybody posted as to the progression of that event as we work toward the month of October. All right, next up, let's see here. I'm just going to mention this real quick in passing because we usually talk about it on Monday. Dude, I think I'm done with Yellowstone.
Why?
I really do. Last night was just an abomination. Did you watch it last night?
Yeah.
I have zero interest right now. I was majorly disappointed.
Did you not see what's coming up, though? At the end, there was some hot action coming up.
Why do you think they cut it short? They cut it almost 10 minutes short to show this 4-minute summary of the final 4 episodes.
To let people know that something's actually going to happen.
Because the first half of the season has sucked. That's why. Last night was just, they were all over the place. They start off with a story that's totally unrelated to what's going on. They didn't pick up where the previous show left.
That's gonna tie back in somehow. That's what's gonna be the brilliance of it, is you're gonna be like, what the heck does this have to do with anything? And then it's all gonna tie back in. There was one other fishing related thing before we get to Pete.
They moved the college thing, and wasn't it the high school thing to the Harris chain? Bass did.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. That they made that announcement. Going back to Florida, I don't know. I can't remember what the date was on that they moved it to, but man, I would think that there are numerous places that you could go to besides Florida right now with everything that Florida has going on. But it is what it is, and obviously with the protocol that Bass took care of at the SLR, they're just doing an outstanding job at protecting the employees, the anglers, and the support staff that make this thing happen. So, yeah, the college and the high school event moved to the Harris chain. Let's see here. Super tournament going on this weekend on the Mississippi River. You mentioned the John Cox situation. Any thoughts on that, Matthew?
No, I mean, he's just doing what he's doing.
Not John Cox.
Oh, on the tournament?
Yeah.
No, I mean, they've had some 3-fish tournaments, but BFL's up there. They're 3 fish. It takes a 4-pound average. I think you're going to see a pretty standard Mississippi River out of lacrosse. It'll be interesting to see how the field spreads out with 200-plus boats in it. You have a lot of experience up there with a lot of those MLF pros fishing the Super Tournament, having been there numerous times with the Bassmaster Elite Series in the past number of years. And it seemed as though the theme of the first day of practice was getting stuck and then getting out of your boat and taking a picture of your boat and saying, look, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing. Have you noticed over the last 2 weeks, smallmouth guys catch them on smallmouth tournaments? Like the largemouth guys, you have a lot of hit and misses. Smallmouth guys don't miss in their wheelhouse. It's amazing how good. I mean, look at the guy, Chris Johnson, Paul Mueller, throw Micah Frazier in there, Corey Johnson, Wenlet, Polinick, Zaldane, Gustafson, Paquette, Schultz, DePalma, Fighter, Snowder, Jacobson, Shryock,
Snowder,
Perch, Austin Felix, Jamie Hartman, Pipkins. Those guys all finished in the top 30 in this. And then you go over to what it was last week in the MLF, and Justin Lucas, Mark Daniels Jr. who's won on smallmouth, Bertrand, Iconelli. Like the guys who catch smallmouth, like always catch smallmouth when they're supposed to catch smallmouth. You rarely see someone tank on a fishery that's all brownies.
No, you're right.
It's unbelievable how consistent they are.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, hopefully, with Pete Gluszek here on a Monday. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to side scan and down scan imaging, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need a 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
The Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim On is a very unique bait, and it's got a full body but with ribs to give it a bigger profile but not more plastic. It's got a jointed tail that gives it a lot of action, as well as this up and down crawl type trail with holes and ribs in it, so it creates a bubble trail almost. This bait is supposed to be fished upside down or vertical like this on a great for a chatterbait. I prefer it on a swim jig as well, but you can also cut it down and put it on the back of a finesse jig. You know, flip it around for some spotted bass or flipping docks. Anytime you want a small, compact, you know, little trailer for it, this is great for it. So check out the full lineup of swim-ons at bigbitebaits.com.
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
All right, we are back on a Monday, a jam-packed week here on BTL. And I think we have Pete, Matt. We'll see here.
Live from the Chesapeake?
Hopefully.
On a guide trip.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's bring him in. Pete, you there, man? You there, Pete? Pete? Oh, he doesn't have his audio engaged.
You have to engage the audio?
Yeah. Well, his mic.
Oh. Does he know how to... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I had a feeling this one was going to be a rough one. I really did. Do you not have his audio? Does he have is that the little audio thing with an X through it on the bottom, or what is that?
No, he's gone.
Oh. Can you just call him up on like old school style? Like
I can.
On the telly?
Yeah.
We got a little view of him.
He's back now. Let's see here.
I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's on Ike Live. He's on Bass U. He's on all this stuff.
Pete, you there?
Yeah, I can hear you guys, but I guess my signal's not quite strong enough to get good feedback from you guys. Can you hear me okay?
I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to call you on the phone since the signal's not that great. And then we'll talk on the... Well, it's kind of settled down now. How many bars you got?
I can't really see with the sun shining on my screen. I can't hardly see what I got going on, to be honest.
You guys are throwing spinning rods? I see a spinning rod in the back, Pete.
I know you guys are busting my chops, but I can't make it out.
All right, let's do this. Here, I'm just going to call. So hang up, and then I'll call you via the phone, and we'll go from there. There we go.
Call this one.
All right, hang on.
I knew this was going to happen.
No,
Chesapeake doesn't have great service.
I know.
I feel like we've had this exact problem with Pete Gluszek before on the Chesapeake trying to get the video.
He said
I think this feels like a deja vu moment.
He said that he was going to be in a good area. That's the only reason that I did it that way. All right, let me see here. Oh, hang on. Man, you have nothing to fill, huh, there, Matthew?
Oh no, I thought it was a pretty calm silence there. I mean, we all know you're trying to get Pete dialed up. He's waiting on us. There we go.
Let's see here.
How about now?
All right.
Oh,
you
perfect.
good? You good, Pete?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Very nice,
Excellent.
man. It's unfortunate that the cell service on the Chesapeake is not that great, but we'll go this route. But dude, we won't keep you from what you got as far as the task at hand, catching fish there with your client. But I want to say thanks for taking time out and really kind of tell the fans what you have going on. You got some really cool stuff going on with the Bass University. And rather than me try and interpret exactly what you have going on, what a better thing to do than go to the source, the dean. So what is the cool stuff that you have going on with the Bass University right now, Pete?
Well, the latest and greatest, and we're super excited about it because we've been working on it for a while, but we've developed the Bass University app, which is going to allow you to view from your mobile device in a way that's super easy, and it's really organized so you can get to all the training content that you want fast. And whether it's an Apple device or an Android device, we've worked hard to be able to deliver some really, really great content, easy to work with, and it's free. It's available right now. We just launched it. People are downloading it like crazy. We're really excited about that. And that's the latest and greatest we got going on right now.
All right, very cool. Do you have any idea how many pros that you have that are a part of the Bass University? Do you have a number, Pete?
Yeah, I should know this number. I think it's around 70.
Wow.
We have 70 instructors, and these are guys that have won elite tournaments, FLW tournaments, Bass Pro Tour tournaments. We go to a great level of effort to get the guys that are super talented, and we get them talking about what they're really good at. But we take a lot of pride in that. We want to deliver the content that's just not something that's thrown up there by somebody who caught a fish one time. This is the real deal. But what's really cool to me and the guys at Bass U is how many guys on the Elite and Bass Pro Tour and FLW that subscribe to Bass University TV. It just boggles my mind. I talk to guys all the time, guys from the South that they're going up like they fished this week at Thousand Islands, and they want to brush up on their smallmouth techniques. So they'll go and work with all the different seminars we have on smallmouth, and top wood, whatever they want to pick up. They try to pick up tips from each other. So that's awesome. So we have guys that are beginners just getting started fishing, learning from us, and we have the top tier guys coming to Bass University TV to help their game.
All right, Pete, the Elite Series goes to Lake Champlain this week. A quick summary of the Dean. The Deans, I was going to say Mr. Gluszek, but you got to call him the Dean if you got a title there. Yeah. Stats, you have a Toyota Series. What was it? A Stren Series back then when you popped the W on Champlain?
Yeah, it was called the Stren.
Yeah, it was the Stren Series back then. You also have a top 10 in the Stren Series in 2008 there, and then a tour. You almost won a tour event there as well in September of 2008. So 3 top 10s on Champlain, and obviously everyone, when you go to Champlain, wants to know, do you fish the smallmouth? Do you make the run to tie? You have solved that riddle numerous times. So just kind of talk a little bit about some of the strategy that these Elite Series guys and the decision-making that they have going into Champlain this week.
All right, I will, but I'm going to start because you brought it up, I'm still a little pissed at Chip Harrison for stealing that tour event from me a couple years ago. And it was amazing because I really had a great tournament, and I led it for 3 days. And on the 4th day, I dropped just a little bit, and he came and got me, and it was a great win for him. But he did it fishing for smallmouth. He's never weighed in a largemouth up there. And 2 5-pound largemouth came out in 20 feet of water and bit his drop shot. And he snaked me by 11 ounces in that tournament. As you can see, I still think about it all the time.
That's seriously? Wait, so Chip Harrison on day 4 comes in with 21.6, and 10 pounds of that were bonus largies on a drop shot?
bonus largemouth in 20 feet of water off a deep eelgrass bed that had no business being there.
Wow.
Were you
Crazy.
running in that one? Were you fishing largemouth?
I was. What was I doing in that tournament? I most often am fishing both species, and like my solution to the recipe for Champlain is to go north. I love fishing like things down at Ticonderoga, the grass, the shallow largemouth. I love fishing that way, but I find when I go north, in the inland sea and Missisquoi and on the New York side, there's smallmouth and largemouth that are right next to each other. So, when you get these sunny days, like I'm fishing in 90-degree heat down here right now, bluebird skies. I mean, this is a perfect smallmouth condition. And, you're going to get access to those big smallmouth when the sun shines like this, and you can't get them when it's cloudy. But when it's cloudy out, the big largemouth become very accessible. So, I like that part, and if my largemouth aren't biting, I can idle or run a mile and fish for smallmouth and go back and forth. So it's a mixed bag deal for me. And it was in that tournament too. I know I was dominated by largemouth that particular week. And, but I always have some smallmouth in the bag. Here's what happens when you go after largemouth and you commit to it, you're going to get some of those 5-pounders because there's plenty of them north or south. The problem is the bottom end of your limit. You wind up with these 15, 16, 17-pound stringers that because you got a 2-pound largemouth, you got maybe 2 of them in there. So you got 3 big ones, but then you got 2 little ones. And that's where the smallmouth come into play because their average size is just bigger. So you can catch it. If you can find a pattern where you can get 3-pounders relatively easy, you can go get your big largemouth. Then your bottom end of your stringer is got a couple decent smallmouth, and then you get up around 20 pounds. And, that's been the recipe for me. That's what I shoot for every single time I'm up there. But I will tell you this, I spend my practice rounds, I spend about 70% of my time looking for the largemouth because they're the harder to find. The big ones are harder to find and dial in on. So I spend most of my practice time looking for largemouth and just a minimum on smallmouth, just trying to find those 3-pounders. And that's been my recipe for the last several years. And I'm bummed out because I was going to fish that FLW tournament up there, that Toyota series up there next month. Mm-hmm. But it looks like that tournament is canceled on me. So I won't get to fish it, but I guarantee you I will be watching these elite guys fish it and wishing I was there.
As far as Champlain goes, I mean, you fish coast to coast, north and south. Are there more viable possible tournament winning patterns and areas on Champlain than pretty much any other fishery, regardless of the time of the year you fish on? It just seems like like you just mentioned, there's a lot of different ways that you can get to a winning weight. It's not, we're going to go here, we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to be won.
You're right. I mean, there's so many different choices. The wind's a big factor there, mm-hmm. like it is in all the big bodies of water. But you can win it on, going south. It's been won. Oh, as one of my guys hooked up. I wish we were on video. He's
on the spinning rod?
He's bowed up on a spinning rod right now.
Good one?
Fishing in the heat of the summer. It looks good to me. What are we dealing with? Yeah, we got a solid 3-pounder.
Nice.
Is he gonna flip it or you got to scoop it for him?
Well, we're about to find out. I've never landed a fish while interviewing before.
Walk us through it, Pete. Tell us what's going on.
All right. The fish is digging under the boat. He's got this spinning rod bowed up, but he's got good rigging. He's got braid with a 12-pound leader, and this fish is trying
grass.
Like crazy.
Is he in grass?
Oh, I had him and lost him. Now I got him. Yeah, that's a solid 3.5.
Scoop and score.
Big, healthy. Yeah, it's a big score because what I like to see out here is the fish are starting to feed heavy in the summer and their bellies are getting full. It's weird because their metabolism is so high that you would think they'd be all skinny, but there's so much food out here that even in the heat of the summer, these 85-degree temperatures, when you catch fish like that one with a full belly, you're around fish that are feeding. So that's pretty cool.
Starting to run into that problem myself with the metabolism and so I understand where that fish is coming from.
All right, man, Pete. A couple more things, and we'll let you get back to business. I received several emails. There's been some comments. People want to know, hey, what's your status with the NPFL? The latest list did not have your name on there. What would you like to say about that?
Well, I remain optimistic. We've been through this COVID-19. Several sponsorships have, been on pause and hold and kind of a wait and see situation. And we're coming up on the budgeting part of the year, summer and fall. So, I remain optimistic that I'm going to be fishing, get with the right group of partners, and we're going to get out there and get after it. So right now, I'm still actively pursuing it, and we'll see what happens here in a couple months.
All right, there you have it, the official statement from the dean. All right, man, anybody out there that wants information about the Bass University, what do they have to do, Pete?
And you go over to bassu.tv, or what the easiest way to do it is just to go over to wherever you get your apps and search Bass University, and whether you're Android or Apple, download the app, come check us out. We honestly are going to help you be a better angler.
All right, final thing, if anybody wants to take a trip on the Chesapeake, how do they get in touch with you?
You can find all my info at PeteGluszek.com. You can also get it through Bass University. You can find it anywhere, or you can come on tomorrow night's show and instant message me on the show. We have a Bass U Live tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
All right, there
this
you have it.
This is crazy. I don't know if maybe we should get rid of Pete before I read this, but I was just doing a little research while he was doing that. And this is from the September 13th, 2008. Rob Newell actually wrote this article. After sacking a decent limit of smallmouths early, Harrison made the move to one of his favorite smallmouth holes in 17 feet of water. The area was a textbook smallmouth location, positioned off a flat with a mix of weed and rock, a place that had produced nothing but smallmouths all week. Rob's really setting it up for what's about to happen here.
Man, you
can just hang up right now if you want to, Pete. But this is history. This is history. Finished second. It was a hell of a tournament. It's verifying what he said. What happened next is basically inexplainable, even to Harrison himself. Oh, inexplicable. Even worse than inexplainable. I got a bite. I set the hook. I could tell it was a nice fish. Harrison recounts it got hung up in a big wad of milfoil, but I kept pressure on the fish, and eventually the milfoil tore loose. I pulled up a huge ball of grass to the surface and dug through it until I uncovered a giant largemouth bass. I was floored. I had never caught a largemouth out that deep before.
I'm sorry you had to hear that.
It wasn't meant to be, Pete.
I am laughing through my tears.
Jeez. Putting him through that.
I won't read the second half of it, but it's basically the same thing over again, and there's the 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Dang.
Hey, I fished a wonderful tournament. He got me by 11 ounces. It was the toughest loss I've had to deal with, but like you said, it was his turn. You can't defend against that,
Yeah. All right, man. Should be a great week at Champlain this week, though. Pete?
Can't wait. I'll be watching live.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. It's hard to get work done when that's on because I just have to have it on. Even while I'm out here on the water, I have it live.
Yeah.
I have to listen.
Wait a
second.
second.
I'm going to be listening to you guys this week, Mark.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm doing more reading here. You were throwing a wiggle wart on Champlain in that tournament, Pete?
Oh, that's right.
Whoa, let's get it. You got 2 minutes to get into that, or you got to go? Because that's fascinating to me. September, grass flats on Champlain and a wiggle wart?
Yep, my guys are catching them, so we're good, man. I've got a guy up there that can handle the trolling motor, so we're good. But no, the wiggle wart was a major player because I forgot about this. We had south winds, piping south winds. I'm talking 20 to 30 mile an hour winds one day, and it was the biggest water I've ever seen on Champlain. I've seen a lot of big water there. Coming around Cumberland Head, which is the way I got to go, is I don't even know how tall they were, whether they were 10 footers or higher. They were real big. But the biggest problem was it wiped out the majority of the places I was fishing. I mean, you're exposed. You had to get in protected water, or drift. And I was fishing a lot for largemouth, so it just didn't work, So I actually found a pattern with a wiggle wart that day. Hadn't found him at practice. Hadn't, just kind of adjusted to the conditions and was fighting for water to fish. And I found a riprap pattern where the riprap met the grass, and the wiggle wart was perfect bait, perfect depth. And I actually caught the lunker that day that I was fishing with that wart. I can't remember how big it was, but it was like 7 pounds. It was upper sixes, I think. And but believe it or not, the crankbait, now Timmy Horton won down south in Ticonderoga on a crankbait. Don't sleep on a crankbait on Lake Champlain. It can get them on the north end, the south end, and one of my deals too up there with that wiggle wart is I can get the smallmouth to come up and get that too. Sometimes out of 20 feet of water, they'll come up and get it. So the crankbait is a neat little tool up there for me.
Wow, good stuff. All right, man. Pete, as always, thank you for taking time out. I know you're super busy, but man, I wish we could have had the video thing going, but this has been great, kind of giving people an insight on what to expect at Champlain. And then, folks, make sure you check out the app. They got all kinds of new stuff on there for the Bass University. All right, man, be safe, Pete.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, take care. There you have it, Pete Gluszek, and good guess, man. A lot of success on Champlain. And I took a peek at the weather forecast. What do you think the wind's supposed to do?
It's probably supposed to blow.
No.
No?
No. The prediction is maximum winds the entire week, 10 miles an hour.
That's
It could be a little dicey, but between 5 and 10 all week long.
Just kind of following what's been going on at Champlain and some of the guys in the field. I'm really 50-50. I think you've got some guys that are going to smash them and tie, and I think here's my prediction for this tournament. It's going to come down to a largemouth versus a smallmouth guy.
Think so.
For 1 and 2. I think you're going to have a largemouth guy that's running to tie, fishing against a rock pile smallmouth guy, and they're both going to have 18 to 21 a day. And I think it's going to come to down to that final day. But I think it'll be a largemouth guy versus a smallmouth guy. That's how diverse that fishery is.
All right, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. Big announcement on what's going to go down on Thursday right here on BTL. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Hey everybody, Tide Faircloth here. Want to show you one of my favorite braided lines, SX1 30-pound Sunline braid. I use this braided line for a couple of different applications, and one of my favorites to use for this line is a swim jig. Casts great, and it's small diameter, and just works really great on a swim jig. Another technique I like to use for 30-pound SX1 Sunline braid is whenever I'm flipping like a light, say an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight in grass, small diameter, I don't lose much action on my worm, just works great in those scenarios. So if you're looking for a braided line for a swim jig or fishing a light Texas rig, check out Sunline's SX1 30-pound braid.
Professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
Yeah, You care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Lutz doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done.
All right, we are back on a Monday, kicking off the week and wrapping up the Monday show. Good stuff from Pete there, man. The guy's had an enormous amount of success on Champlain, and one thing I picked up on, he said, hey, I'm going to be watching. The other thing was when he was talking about the number of pros that belong and actually take part, not from an instructional standpoint, but in an educational standpoint, from TBU. So very, very cool. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up the show today with a special announcement, and we're going to have a very, very special show on Thursday. I reached out to Jim Sexton at Bass, and he communicated with Bruce Aiken, and we have received permission from Bass to do what I am calling a watch party. Now, with this new software that we have, I'm actually able to capture the day one live stream that's going to take place on Bassmaster.com. I'm going to capture that stream and throw it through our software to where I can actually increase the audio, make the audio go away. And as day one is taking place for about 90 minutes, we're going to have Mark Menendez on commenting on what is taking place with what they are showing on ESPN2 and on Bassmaster.com. The cool thing is, if you want to take part in this watch party and you have the capabilities of having a microphone, a headset on your cell phone with the mic and the earpieces, and a very good internet connection, as you witnessed with Pete, we did not have a good internet connection. You too can take part in this watch party, right? You don't have to stay on, obviously, the whole time. You can come in, you can leave, you can come back. I can have a maximum of 10 people on at one time, all right? This is not Zoom. Now, if you want to take part in this and be a part and actually ask Mark Menendez questions and be a part of this watch party while the day one event is taking place at Lake Champlain, all you got to do is send me an email. mark@basszone.com. I will respond to that email with the video link for that show, and you can be a part of the Elite Series watch party that we're going to have with Mark Menendez on day one at Lake Champlain. So, in summary, streams coming through. Mark Menendez is going to be on for the entire 90 minutes. If you want to be a part of the watch party and be part of those 10 people that can be on and still watch everything that's taking place on ESPN2 and on Bassmaster.com, that's going to go down on Thursday. What are your thoughts, Matthew?
Sounds cool. I mean, you're sitting there with the guy who actually has fished that lake in Elite Series competitions.
Yeah.
And can ask him the questions and kind of interact. And like I said, it's a watch party. They do it all the time. I always like to watch parties. You can watch the channel during the OU games. Right, and they'll have
Barry Switzer,
a lubed-up Barry Switzer, sitting there with his rings on, just sitting in the cabana. They call it the coach's cabana.
That's it.
And he's just BSing about what's going on at the game, and if he sees something on there that he can point out, oh, look at that for me, blah, 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 and talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
And not former players come on and stuff, and it just kind of gives a whole different dynamic to the event.
Yeah, this has never been done. We're going to try it. Hopefully, things will work out well. I actually tried it with some archive stuff, and it worked flawlessly. So that is the plan on Thursday. So between now and really Wednesday evening, send me an email, mark@basszone.com, if you want to take part in the watch party on Thursday. We're going to kick it off at 9 a.m., not 8:30. We're going to kick it off at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and 7 a.m. West Coast Time. We'll see how it goes. I know the Apex Bass games went really well. Hopefully this little watch party that we're going to have on Thursday for the first time here on BTL. And have you heard of a watch party before, Matthew, like this in bass fishing?
I have not.
No?
Could have happened. I just haven't.
Might have, but I don't know. With stuff going on out there. But we went the right route. We got permission from Bass. And once again, a great appreciation to Jim Sexton and Bruce Aiken for allowing us to do this on Thursday. You guys will not miss any of the action, and you'll get great insight from Mark Menendez, a seasoned tour veteran that has been on Champlain numerous times.
He's been all over the map on Champlain.
Yeah.
He's tanked. He's cashed good checks. He knows about it.
Yeah. So that's the big announcement. Once again, send me an email, mark@basszone.com. Make sure you have access to a video camera, a microphone, and a really good internet connection. If you do it from your cell phone, which you can, which is what Pete was trying to do, make sure you have at least a 4G signal, or you're tied into your Wi-Fi network wherever you are that has very good high-speed
regular time,
connection.
8:30?
No, I said that. 9 a.m.
9 a.m. So now half an hour later.
Yeah.
Than normal.
Yeah.
Cool.
9 a.m. Are you going to be in studio, or are you going to be in Tulsa? Or are you going to be on at all?
Yeah, I'll be on from a different location.
Are you going to have a good internet connection, hopefully?
Yeah, I think I might. I don't know whether I'm in Kansas or Nebraska or somewhere.
Barrel racing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, just let me know.
Kinder, not thrilled with the portrayal of barrel racers thus far on the third season of Yellowstone.
Dude, I'm still trying to figure that out. What is their spin? Why
Here's
are they
their
involved?
deal. Here's their deal. I would venture to say, this is just purely speculative guess on my part, that there is a writer on Yellowstone, because I'd imagine a lot of the Yellowstone writers are somewhat involved in the production or writing, is country, familiar with that, in order to have it accuracy. And they got screwed over by a barrel racer at some point over the course of their life, and they're still a little bitter about it. And this is their way of subtly kind of exacting revenge, is to just put a dig about barrel racers at every single episode. I mean, it's every episode. I think it's hilarious. I'm rolling on it.
I mean, that's okay, but I'm still trying to figure out why the barrel racers are hooking up with who they're hooking up with.
That's what I'm saying.
What is it?
It's a dig, I think, by one of the writers just to.
But there's got to be a reason from the story standpoint, is what I'm saying.
Nah, I think
in other words,
I think it's just a moment of levity and otherwise. I mean, you can only have guys standing on front porches overlooking fields saying serious stuff so much. You got to have a little levity into it. I didn't think last night's was bad.
It was horrible.
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was good. I think it's
horrible.
But here's the thing: you have to set it up. I mean, you're on a ranch in Montana. You can't just have chaos happening every single episode.
They did last season?
No, the last 3 or 4 episodes they did. It was the last 3 or 4 episodes. But I mean, there's something about ranch life. You got to live ranch life and set it up.
Chance.
You're seeing all the behind the scenes stuff setting up.
One more show.
I mean, it's a slow developing
Even Carolyn
process.
said something about it. She turned and she looked at me.
You're
and
in
she's
the middle
like,
of Montana. What do you expect?
What was that?
What do you just expect? Gunplay and chaos every single week on the Yellowstone Ranch? No.
He's like the Tony Soprano of Montana with a cowboy hat.
I admit
man.
it's slow, but you can't just go around having Old West shootouts every week. You get 1 or 2 good ones a year.
All right. Well, it is what it is, man. I told you I'm going to give it one more chance, and that's it. And if it's about the same, I'm tapping out. You can just keep me informed.
Steve says, if you come to Kansas, I'll show you how to not catch bass.
Well, I know how to do that very easily. All right, I want to thank Pink Gluszek for taking time out of his wonderful guide trip to fill us in on all kinds of stuff. And then tomorrow, Mark Zona
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, get his take on
that
the SLR.
That will be a very good one.
In Champlain. And then no show on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the watch party. So give me your email if you want to take part. Mark@basshone.com. That's it, Matthew. We're out of here.